G'day everyone, it's Ben from TAFE. Hope you are well. Coming back to you with another weekly Promethean video. I'm on a bit of a roll, so I'm trying to keep them going. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit about ways you can make your home screen, your desktop, all this space here a little bit more your own. I'm going to skip the basic stuff like, making the clock look how you want it to look, or putting on like a background picture. I think you guys get all that. If not, let me know. I can do something on that. But there's lots of resources out there on that. You look up any number of those official Promethean YouTube channels, and you are just going to get tons of excellent information on this kind of stuff. Firstly, I'm just really excited. I just got back from the doctors, and if you knew what's been going on with me, I've been one-handed for like the last 6 weeks. I've had my arm, incapacitated, and I just heard back from the doctor that, look, 10 points of touch are back in action. My left hand and arm is out of the sling and reporting for duty. Life is good. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about here is this kind of arrangement of apps here. And then, if you have a Promethean, or if you've been looking at Prometheans and you're wanting one, if you've been lusting after one for your classroom, my arrangement here doesn't look very Promethean-esque. Anyway, it doesn't look all that Promethean. Usually you see a big circle of apps, a big flower of apps, and I prefer this layout here, partly because I never got that growth spurt in high school and I'm pretty short, so I kind of find I like to have a lot of apps on the home screen, and when I have a big circle, I end up finding like I'm reaching really high, or I'm reaching really low, or out to the sides, and there's just a whole lot of not much going on in the middle. Take it or leave it. To get to that, what you do is, I just showed you then, but you press and hold towards the right hand side of the screen. So if you've got the circle, press within the circle. That's a good way to do it. I just press sort of near it. If I go over to this side of things and press and hold, you start going into your widget and clock settings and stuff like that. Let me do that again. So obviously you can see my wallpaper is custom. That's a photo I took with our photographers. That fire is real. I love my job. Change wallpaper. Guess where you go to change your wallpaper? Prevent modifications. That's where you go to lock your settings in. Adding a bubble adds these little circles, and you can fill them with groups of apps or, singular apps. Preferences is where things start to get a little bit fun. So up here on home screen, if you go in here, this is where you can make a bunch of decisions regarding how the clock looks. Up here, the color, the date, whether you're a 24-hour person or a 12-hour person, whether you like the AM and PM kind of thing, or you just like the numbers. Here's where I choose Arch. And this is what I like my layout to look like. Grid looks kind of cool too. Honeycomb is, as it says, experimental. I've played around with all of these. Flower is obviously that most iconic Promethean look. You can see a panel from across the school, and you see that flower of apps, and you just know it's Promethean. Like I said, I like the arch. You might like the flower, but here is where you go to change it. You can change the quick start position, which has been handy for me. I could swap it to make it a left-handed board and still stay in the game. You can even change like the look of the bubbles and the size and all that kind of stuff. Kind of cool. So I'm going to use my pink dot to back out of that, because wherever you travel with your pink dot, you've always got yourself a nice little back button. That's always like a nice little safety thing. And then I think what I'm going to do is just temporarily take you out of here and show you a couple of things. So let me show you this. So here is my pink dot, and within it is the icon for the whiteboard app. And I've been going on and on and on about how cool the new whiteboard app is. That's not what today is about. But what I want to show you is I've actually got an icon for it over here too. And you might think, well, that's double handling, that's not very minimalism, Ben, come on, that's not very zen. But what I've found is, because this pink dot travels, and particularly when I've been like a one-armed bandit, having to not have to like sort of traverse the entirety of this 75-inch display to get to a whiteboarding button has been kind of cool. So having it in two places, when you got short arms and you're short and one of your arms is broken, has been kind of cool. So take it or leave it. It actually, the whiteboard, let me find it, lives under the internet tab on in your apps drawer, just here, unless you've moved it somewhere else. And to add it, it's just like adding any other app. So press and hold, add a bubble, choose generic app, and then you can search for it here, or you can scroll down and find it. So I don't know, it was a giant thing for me. It's probably like a really minor thing for you guys, but it's just something worth mentioning. The other thing I want to mention, these app drawers here, a lot of the time, I've seen on some Prometheans, they have the little label. See how it says games, see how it says communication, utility, education. Anyway, you get the idea. Sometimes that's there, sometimes it's not. I can show you how to get that back or turn it off if you don't like it. That was a kind of cool thing. So again, press and hold over near your apps, preferences, app grid. And here you can change a bunch of stuff in here, from how many columns, how many things, do you want passwords, do you want the drawer to, sorry, I'm going too quick, passwords for hidden apps, do you want to have the drawer pop out from the left-hand side or the right-hand side? Or if you slide up, there's like this little hidden little option here, which says show categories label near icon. And I turn that on because I really, really like it. I also turn this one on because I really, really like that one. And that is how I end up with my app drawer looking like that. Now, hang in there, there's still a couple more things I want to show you within the apps drawer. And this tip I learned in Sydney off a tremendous teacher called Brad, the Rad Brad. He worked the Promethean stand with me, and yeah, he's just full of cool stuff. So if you actually press and hold on, I don't know, photography, you can come up with this sort of screen here with all sorts of options. So you can remove this category with the big dirty red button. If you do that, don't despair, your apps won't disappear, they will just disperse themselves into the other categories. You could change the icon for photography, or you can even go in here and add a category, and whoa, there's just so many different ways to organise your beastly Promethean machine. I know different teachers like different levels of organisation. This really enables you to nail it down and put apps exactly where you want them. You can also even reorder where things sit. So, you know, for me, I put a little bit of thought in this, and I know, well, I am yay tall and I use the internet the most, and then photography the second. I rarely ever go into games and rarely ever go into settings. So I kind of spread things out like that. But that's getting very, very nerdy. If you find you've got an app that is sitting in a category that you don't like, you know, you can push and hold on it and then move it into another bucket like that too. So anyway, there's just some fun stuff to do with the drawer. All right, guys, I wanted that to be really quick. Just a fun little take on how to pimp out your Promethean, or as I prefer to call it, the Promethean. Yeah. So hopefully there are a couple of cool tips in there that you might find of some use. Let me know what you want to talk about next. I'm kind of interested in, if you're interested in knowing what apps and things I like to use and have hidden away in all these bubbles. If that's interesting to you, let me know. I'm also really interested in seeing how other teachers have their Promethean set up in their classroom, because I find that I'm learning so much just from watching other people use their gear, and I just want to keep getting better at using this thing because it's incredible.